our clergy, our parishes and institutions, who are always not only happy and glad and thrilled, but also enthusiastic about the wonderful bonds of love and friendship and partnership in the gospel that exists for so many years. I remember when I was studying at VTS, and one of the chairs of the American Friends actually worshipped at Emmanuel on the Hill at Virginia Theological Seminary, and for many years we talked about this important partnership. And so this is, I think, a time to celebrate and to talk about this appeal of Easter, the appeal for Easter, and the campaign itself is actually a manifestation of the hope that exists within our communities, our institutions, and within our diocese, of this wonderful and important partnership that we have with the American Friends. It is a hope-filled institution that empowers people with certain disabilities or special needs into facing the challenges of their own communities, especially in a place like Jordan, where these opportunities are very slim, and now has grown, and the institution itself has been a pioneer in doing so many things, whether we're talking about the audio, or talking about the sign language, or we're talking about many programs that go deep into the community and reaches to the very unlikely places of refugee camps and small villages where people are not, they don't have the resources to offer to these people who have hearing impediment and other special needs, rather just to give and offer a bright future, a better future.
Which is in a wonderful Old English hospital in the old city of Salt. Again, something you have to visit when you're in Jordan, and it's a wonderful example of the opportunity that HLID gives their students. It is a professional chef is in charge, but all of the cooks, the servers, the waiters, the managers of this cafe are students at HLID. It's very professional. It's wonderful food, and it gives them hands-on, real life experience to position them for a productive life. Without HLID, and I'm not over dramatizing it, but the children at HLID, with the education and the love they receive there, they do have a shot at a productive life, either moving on into higher education or into a stable job. And without this institution, they really would be looking at a life of hopelessness. There's no other service for these children, most of whom come from extremely impoverished families, which again is part of the reason that we're doing this appeal. These families can't support the school. The level of education that these young people receive in this country, a comparable education, would literally cost six figures. It's that level of quality and love that these young people receive, and it really does make a difference. It really is the difference between a life of hope and a life of hopelessness.
I've had the privilege of visiting HLID twice. It is the closest thing to heaven on earth I have ever seen, and not least of which because of its beauty. It's a bright campus filled with big trees and old buildings that are well maintained. It's the kind of place you could spend all day, but all the more because of the sense of at ease that its students find. You can tell that they are home there, and that they feel like they can thrive and grow there. You see the love that the staff and the chaplains give. It's just very apparent. And so every visit always ends too soon, and I can't wait to go back.
I am hopeful because of course, of my faith first and foremost. We are people of the resurrection, and I think, this Easter appeal reminds us all that that Christ has overcome death and given us not only life, but also with its all abundance. And for me, one thing that I see in the institutions and in the parishes and the clergy and the ministry at large in the diocese, to see people like Father Wadia, like many other clergy who are so enthusiastic about doing God's work and mission in this diocese and for the world. There is so much to do. There's so much to accomplish. There is so much to achieve. And also the other thing that makes me hopeful is the help and support that we get from our friends. And as I look at the screen today, I can spend hours talking about the friends that are in this meeting, who have accompanied not only me personally, but so many of our clergy, so many of our institutions, so many of the pilgrims who came to this land, and we have sweat together, we have cried together, we have loved together, and there's so much, I think, in this world that deserves our not only full attention and the full ability to work in God's field and in our diocese and in our world, but to see all of that energy, existing around me, and Wadia can tell you more about, the collective way of thinking that we in the diocese now looking ahead. And to this, I am really hopeful. And since I'm in Jerusalem, next to the Holy Sepulchre and the empty tomb, I'm reminded that this is the city of hope. This is the city of the resurrection. And there's no better hope than this, that, our Lord is the risen Lord. And I think this is the hope that we try to manifest and implement and share with our institutions, with our churches, and the people who come to visit this land, and they experience Jerusalem, they experience the Bible, they experience God, the story of Jesus in a whole different way. And to that we are entrusted with this mission in this place, in the Holy Land, to be signs of hope, a beacon of hope and love and peace in this world. So we are doing a lot on your behalf, if I may say so. We do this ministry not only for ourselves. We do this on behalf of every single Christian in this world. And so please come and visit with us. Come and see for yourself. These living experiences, these hope-filled experiences, these stories of young men and women and our people who are doing, God's work in this land. And this is why I'm smiling all the time, despite all the challenges and all the big responsibilities. But I trust that not only the Lord is with us, but also we have wonderful clergy, wonderful people who are surrounding this diocese with so much love, so much affection, and so much support. And how do you not expect me to be hopeful, if I may say so?
I went for the first time just before, this is one of the last trips I got in before we went on lockdown, so early in 2020. And Dominic knows this well because I go with Lightline many times, but that I've never added Jordan on. I always wanted to, but haven't. And now I don't think I'll ever not add Jordan on. And one of the highlights by far was HLID. And Heidi kind of said this, but the one problem we had after visiting there for our day was getting people back on the bus because they all wanted to stay there and to camp out. And it was difficult. Dominic was on that trip. He knows we had a lot of trouble herding them back on. It's a truly one of the most inspiring places. My father is a Gallaudet grad and a deaf educator. So it was especially impressive and important to me to visit there. The highest level of care, and it's the only such place in the Middle East. So it's just vitally important. And so I highly commend it. It's what our Easter appeal is going to be focused on. And I really hope that you'll join us in supporting it.
It's not a very long drive from Mount Nebo to HLID. And when you stand on Mount Nebo, you realize that when Moses looks out at the promised land looks kind of the same on the other side of the river as it does from where he's standing. It's all pretty desolate, but there's this little green dot in the distance that you can see through the haze. And that's sort of the oasis area of Jericho. But that was enough to give Moses a sense of hope. And I find that HLID is like a new Mount Nebo. You can stand there and you can see just that little bit of hope, a little bit of the promised land. It is an institution that raises money through its story. And after all, I think this is a fundraising conversation. And so you tell the story of HLID and you can't help but find that it speaks to people's hearts and pulls them into that promised land vision that part of Jordan is known for.
We're hoping to raise $100,000. And that would support 10 students, individual students, boys and girls, young men and women at the school for a year. $10,000 is what it costs to keep a student at Holy Land Institute for the Deaf. Because of the pandemic, the school is really in a precarious situation financially. So we are making this appeal nationwide to obviously all the Episcopal churches, but there are other churches and denominations that join us in this work. I did want to let you know that if you decide that this is an appeal that you'd like to take up with us, we've created with my colleague Heidi Schott, who's in the upper left Hollywood Square. She's created some wonderful resources. We try to make this kind of work as easy as possible for a parish or a diocese. And if you go to the AFEDJ website, you will find brochures, bulletin inserts, flyers, some wonderful stories. We call them story cards about individual students that you can share with your congregations. There's a lovely inspirational invitation letter from Greg Rickel. And this is just a version of the brochure featuring Farah, one of the lovely young girls. And again, these faces are important because those are the faces of the children that we have the opportunity to help and to change the trajectory of their lives.